that whatever their populist policies may say, the actions of UKIP's candidates have shown them certainly not to be a middle of the road party. UKIP's policy on gay marriage is that they support the concept of civil partnerships, but oppose the move to legislate for same-sex marriage on account of it risking the grave harm of undermining the rights of churches and faiths to decide for themselves who they will and will not marry. This line may sound reasonable enough on paper. However, it does not take into account the quadruple lock written into the current legislation, explicitly designed to prevent any pastor, priest or clergyman from being forced to marry a gay couple against their faith. UKIP are founding their opposition to same-sex marriage upon a founder's position. When asked to justify this stance, UKIP's leader, Nigel Farage, announced, "We don't think these safeguards are strong enough," because legal advice had informed them the European Court of Human Rights could overturn these safeguards at the highest level of appeal. UKIP thereby take the matter back to their original cause, and even go so far as to say that they may consider supporting same-sex marriage if the UK would pull out of the ECHR, the European Convention of Human Rights. The implications of this happening I shall speak about shortly. But first I want to look more closely at UKIP's taken stance against equal marriage, especially in the context of the populist policies it is poking itself in to woo the moderate middle. As Manif Platoon paint themselves the righteous protectors of France, UKIP attempt to create their own minority group of which they are the honourable champions. The churches and faiths quake in fear at the tyrannical homosexuals, who are going to force them to perform equal marriage the second the bill is passed. Aside from the quadruple lock, this argument does not logically consider the wishes of homosexual couples themselves. A wedding is assumed to be the happiest day of the couple's lives when they join in union. What couple would want this union to be fissured by a minister performing against their wishes? UKIP in fact cleverly re-angled the mirror of appearance here. No longer is the LGBT community of Britain the minority group poised to gain equal rights and status in the eyes of the law, but the clergymen UKIP claim to be seeking protection for become the oppressed theoretical victims. A bill created for equality is doused as spun from UKIP's prison with an element of fascism. To the moderate middle, this may seem a weighty argument. They may have no defined opinion either way on the matter of gay marriage, but they know that forcing people to act against their wishes is wrong. And they're not being homophobic because UKIP supports civil partnerships. In fact, UKIP might even support same-sex marriage if the UK were to pull out of the European Court of Human Rights. The European Court of Human Rights, which upholds the European Convention of Human Rights, which provides protection and safety to minority groups across Europe, minority groups like the LGBT population of the UK. If UKIP came to power and we pulled out of the European Union and the European Convention of Human Rights, then they would essentially be the highest power to answer to regarding the rights of LGBT citizens in the UK. But that's fine because UKIP aren't homophobic either. Unfortunately, far beyond their position on same-sex marriage, there are reports and accounts of homophobia riddling the UKIP party and its representatives, stretching back to its inauguration. Two of the most recent cases of their candidates expressing homophobic views occurred in May of this year. John Sullivan, the UKIP candidate for Newland, said that physical exercise in schools will prevent homosexuality and congratulated Russia for banning gay pride parades in Moscow. David Nixon, UKIP candidate for Stone Rural, circulated a homophobic leaflet around his constituency containing several anti-gay sentiments, including that equality would lead to the homosexual abuse of children. The leaflet ends with a very Manif Platoon type statement. Where will it end? A child should have the right to a mother and father. There are too many instances to list them all individually here within my time limits, but various UKIP candidates have frequently compared homosexuality to paedophilia and child abuse, such as Mike Mendoza in 2009 and Winston McKenzie in 2012. Named with mental illness, as Dr. Julia Gasper did in 2012, and abhorrence, as Jeffrey Clark did in 2012, and stated even that they will actively try and remove equality laws should they come to power, as Gary Cockrell said in 2010. At the start of this year, both Ollie Neville, the chairman of UKIP's youth wing, and candidate Richard Lowe were forced out of the party for voicing their support for equal rights. UKIP is a party of many voices, but I think in truth that not a party of the middle ground. Its continuing appeal to modern middle Britain should rise. My final point to make, in concluding this talk tonight, is about complacency. And not just the complacency of the moderate middle, the complacency of the LGBT community itself, of both France and the UK. Having lived in both countries within the last 2 years, I can vouch that the majority of young 20th generation gay people are not only not politically active, but not even politically aware. We cannot expect everyone in the gay community to take to the streets bearing placards, but to know what's going on around us, to take an interest in our own rights, is a step towards thwarting those who will stamp out equality. We can't rely on Peter Tatchell and a small host of liberal-minded politicians to do the job for us. The likes of Manif Batu at UKIP may be dismissed or laughed off as nutjobs and crazies, but they have method and organisation to their madness, and with that is coming power. Manif Batu have another demonstration in Paris planned for May the 26th, and UKIP have just won an unprecedented amount of votes at local election level in the UK. Can we halt the marches of these movements? Only perhaps if we begin halting our own complacency.